the West begins in Fort Worth, Texas, to around the globe. You are listening to Talk in the Night. And now, your host, Paranormal Phil. Thank you, and good evening, good morning, wherever you may be listening or viewing around the world, around the globe, or even in your own backyard. I am your host, Paranormal Phil, and in this show, we're going to be talking, in this video, we're going to be talking about directional energy weapons and weather modifications. But if you haven't done so already, make sure you like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to get notified when I post new videos. Also, make sure you leave a comment down below and share this with all your friends. Also, this show is listener, viewer supported, so if you can donate anything, there is a PayPal link down below where you can donate to support the show. So let's get into the topic for this video. Alright, so in this video we're going to be talking about directional energy weapons and weather modifications. But before we get into that, I want to make sure that you know that I use DuckDuckGo for all my search engine needs when I'm searching out topics, related stories for what I'm talking about on Talk in the Night. Search the web without being tracked, private searches, tracker blocking, site encryption, and all that good stuff. That's DuckDuckGo. And of course, DuckDuckGo is not a sponsor of Talk in the Night, but I use them when I need to search out anything on the web. Plus, you can find a lot more on DuckDuckGo. So check them out today. So let's get into the topic for this video. Alright, so with all the fires burning out west, you might be going, what the heck is going on? There's a lot of fires burning out in the west. California, Oregon, Washington, Idaho, Colorado. Now some of those fires have been put out by snowfall, but there's still quite a few fires burning. So you might be asking, what might be causing these fires? Well, this is from Intel iHub, and it says directional energy weapon beam, DW beam weapon from satellite in space captured on radar igniting fire. And I don't know if you've seen this or not, but it's definitely worth a look. So let's go into the story. Could the U.S. government or other government be igniting wildfires in California from space? Sinister beam weapon caught on radar. And I'm gonna play the video here. This video here in a second. But a popular YouTuber here goes by the handle Dachini posted a video to his channel on Tuesday which shows on radar what happened to be what appears to be some type of space-based directional energy weapon creating fires in the state of California. Now, I've heard that this has been seen or mentioned about in other states as well, but this video only shows it going towards one fire. Now, last night people said they could not see the beam. However, I've seen also reports that people have seen like a blue light in the sky, which is that beam. This is, or could be that beam, I should say. This is a short 45-second long video, which is right here. Thanks to animatronics, we now have an easy way to see enhanced color view of the energy beam emitted from over Oregon, likely from a satellite in space, in this person's opinion. The beam going from Oregon to California last night, September 8, 2020. That's just a few days ago. Directly into the fire, the video description states. Notice the fire gets excited whenever the beam moves. Now, I'm going to let you, the viewers, watch the video and you decide if this was actually a beam starting these fires or not. Now, in this digital age, there's a lot of video editing software, things that Photoshop, stuff that we can do to edit these videos. But I don't think this is edited because of people's reports of seeing that blue light in the sky, which could actually be that beam. But again, let's play the video and you decide. I'm going to go full screen here. There is no sound to this, so I will commentate. But you'll see that beam here in a second. And you see fires burning here, here. Let's get rid of that ad. Here, here. Did you see it? Right there. This beam right here was caught on radar. Now radar, infrared radar will pick up laser beams. But that looks to be a pretty good sized beam. And we're going to talk about laser beams and strength later in this video. But could that be a laser beam that is making that fire grow? And like I said, I've seen stories where it's made other fires grow. So continue on. There's that beam again. And watch what the fire does on infrared. It seems to grow and get excited. So you check it out for yourself. Now, next I want to bring up a video that Brian from High Impact TV did on this beam and everything like that. And if you visit his channel, mention that Talking the Night sent you over there. He deals with a lot more political stuff, whereas I'm all over the place with different topics. But he covered this, but not in the extent that I'm talking about on directional energy weapons and weather modification. So let's play his video. Again, that's High Impact TV. He had a lot more subscribers than 35,000 on his other channel, which got taken down by YouTube. So, and of course I had to be careful when posting this video because I don't want to sit off the algorithms either. Now, I know I'm not going to get a copyright strike from him because he rather people share the videos, talk about them. But YouTube is a different animal. It's one that will likely like to hit people with copyright strikes. So if you hear me stopping the video, see me stopping the video and pausing and talking a little bit, that's because I want to use it as fair use, even though I know he wouldn't mind. And again, if you visit his channel, High Impact TV on YouTube, tell him that Talking the Night sent you. So let's make this full screen and play this video.
Okay, what the hell is going on in California? Okay, so far California has set a record. 2 million acres have been burned this year alone.
2 million acres this year alone. And that's pretty much California. But he's talking about other places. But there's a lot of destruction in California. And I'm from Southern California, so I know all about fires. I went to college in the early 90s to study wildfires. I did wildfire firefighting. So I know a little bit about the fires. But this fire season, this amount of fires is unusual, even for California. This many fires. So let's play this a little more.
Apparently, that's the size of 10 New York cities. But before I go over this news right here, let's just read a little bit of this. At least 22 major wildfires are burning across California right now. They say dry.
And that's just in California, 22 fires. Like I said, there's fires burning in Oregon, Washington, Idaho, Colorado, Wyoming, I think, Montana. So it's not just California, but there are 22 at the time of recording this video. When he did it, not my video, but his video, there was 22 fires burning in California alone.
Air and record-setting high temperatures are exacerbating the flames in many areas. On Tuesday, authorities said over 200 people have been airlifted out from areas affected by the Creek Fire. 22 major wildfires.
Now, of course, again, temperatures are crazy out in California as it is. Especially where I'm from, where temps can hit over 110 in the summer. But they've been going through a lot of dry spells. And when I get into weather modification later, if they got this technology, why can't they use it for good? But with that beam, what the hell is their plan? So let's play more.
Are burning across California. I just want to refresh our memory before I play this video right here that there is such a thing as weather modification. This right here is NO.
Now, I don't have this site pulled up, but I've seen it, and they definitely have something on NOAA about weather modification. It's in their own documents, and you can search this out for yourself. If you don't want to believe me, that's fine. But I ask that you research everything. Don't believe me. Don't believe Brian from High Impact TV. Do your own research and check it out for yourself. But there is a thing as weather modification in their own documents.
AA.gov. This is from the government. They admit, they show you on their websites that they do control the weather. This right here is called Weather as a Force Multiplier, Owning the Weather in 2025.
Yeah, see, they want to control the weather, make it to where they can cause droughts, they can cause flooding, all kinds of stuff. That's what they're admitting in their own documentation.
By the United States Air Force. You can see the different topics that they're talking about. The Global Weather Network. What do we mean by weather modification and controlling the weather and owning the weather? So in the...
And of course, I don't have that document pulled up either. But if you go over to High Impact TV, I'm sure he has it in the description for this video. And of course, down below there is a link for this video, as well as links for all the other stuff that I talk about in this video.
Context of people who claim to have the capability of weather modification and the desire, at least the desire of owning the weather by 2025. Guys, that's just in 4.5 years. Less than 4.5 years. I want to play this video real quick, and then we're going to get into something because I want to make an observation that anybody can make.
And I don't have this video from the C dot 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 in dot 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 in it. And I hate to say it that way, but I don't want to trip off algorithms that might get this video pulled or banned or my channel taken away. So I have to be careful when I'm talking about the Communist News Network.
This comes from CNN. CBS has covered it. NBC, ABC, Fox News, all the major networks have covered this. And keep in mind, they have billion-dollar budgets to do research, to ferret out information, to get to the bottom of the facts, to find out how exactly these fires are starting and what's keeping them going.
Now, see, as he mentioned there, these newsrooms have multiple people working for them. They have a big budget to seek out this information that I'm presenting to you, Brian presents to you, but yet they don't do it. Why not? Because they have an alternative motive, in my opinion. Could it be nefarious? Quite possible. But if somebody like myself that doesn't have help for this channel, or Brian doing all the research for what he does, why can't mainstream media do that? That's just my question, my opinion.
The state's record for acres burned by wildfires in a single year, and it's only September. More than 2 million acres have burned in 2020. That's the size of more than 10 New York cities.
Guys, just think about the enormity of that. 2 million acres have burned in 2020 alone.
And firefighters are getting no break from record-setting heat. Temperatures reached 121 degrees in LA County on Sunday, the highest ever recorded.
So we're breaking.
Yeah, and again, Southern California gets very hot, but with Los Angeles County getting very hot, that seems a little more unusual because normally closer to the coast it's cooler than where I'm from, but as you heard in that video, it got very hot there. So
breaking records. We're breaking heat records. We're breaking fire records in 2020.
CNN has now confirmed a 41-year-old woman died this weekend while hiking in the extreme heat.
The blistering heat has fueled the Creek Fire, which is tearing through the Sierra National Forest in California's Central Valley. A sheriff described
the blistering heat. If you have the power to modify weather, wouldn't you bring some thunderstorms in the area to try to take care of that? Do you remember what they did in Vietnam?
And he makes a good point there. As I said, why couldn't it be used for good if they have this technology? Why, and if they do have this technology, why are they not doing it? I mean, we're going to get into what he's about to talk about here in a second with Vietnam and everything like that later on in the show. But when it comes to weather modification, but think about it. Why are they not using this technology to save homes or something like that, create rainstorms, thunderstorms, which again we're going to get into later when I talk about weather modification.
Guys, Vietnam. This is back in the 60s and 70s. They were modifying the weather to extend the monsoon season, to bring more rain.
And if you think that's a conspiracy theory, that's actually conspiracy fact, which I'm going to bring up later in the show with the operation that was used for that.
To give our troops the advantage. They were doing that back in the 60s and 70s, guys. What kind of technology do they have right now? What kind of technology could they deploy to help alleviate the horrific scenario that's playing out for us in California? 22 major wildfires.
Conditions as hellish. At least 224 people were rescued by air. Others made a frightening escape on their own.
Okay.
And watch this video from the Communist News Network. And I'm sure some people have seen this video, but I've seen multiple videos like this where people are trying to get out of there while fire's all around them. Let's finish this video.
Oh my gosh.
This is scary, guys.
Just keep going.
Oh.
Just keep going. Just keep going.
You're talking about when you're going through something like that, you're concerned about your tires melting off and you not being able to go anywhere, being burned alive inside your car, even while the air conditioning is going full blast, trying to hide behind the doors. People have been burned alive in their cars trying to escape.
Now, as I said, I used to do wildland firefighting. We had a pack on our side that was like a fire tent. It was made of some kind of foil that was fire retardant. And if we ever got trapped, we had to get it out, tear it open, and get under it in 30 seconds. But imagine you don't have that protection. You only have the car, and your car gets overrun by flames, and you're trapped in there. You're burning alive in there. Fire is scary, and what it can do is crazy.
That the Creek Fire has already burned more than 45,000 acres. States of emergency are in effect in 5 counties now. CNN's Paul Verkerman is on the ground in California.
People are being driven from their land, guys. People who have been there for decades and decades are being driven from their property because of the fire damage. Maybe they'll stay around the first time and rebuild that house that was completely incinerated, completely burnt to the...
And people do that in not just wildfires, but in hurricanes and other storms as well. They'll stay around and rebuild, but when it happens multiple times, people get tired of that and they move out of that area. So I want to actually move this forward to that beam here. And let's see, I think it's right about here. Let's start from here. And he's going to talk about that beam that I just talked about a few moments ago.
Authority. They have really been on this. They've been covering it like nobody's business. Watch what Dutch Sense caught on radar. There's no sound to this, so let's check this out. You're going to see a red beam streak across where the fire is. See that beam right there? You're going to see it even more clear in a second.
It's hard to see even when I played it, but it's still visible.
This is about a 45-second video. Look at that beam. See that beam right there? What is that? What is that? It's going right down to that fire.
Yeah, you see that beam just barely kind of visible in this radar. Again, there with video editing software, anything is possible, but I don't think this is faked. Let's just say that.
And there's another view of it. I think it's right. Yeah, right here. We're going to catch another beam in another video. My question is not just what is that, where did it come from, who did it, why isn't mainstream media covering this?
Exactly. Why is mainstream media not covering this? Because it doesn't fit their narrative is what it is. But they might report on the fires, but they're not going to report on the beam and what people have been claiming to see or even play this video.
These fires are huge, guys. Massive. 22 major fires going on in California right now. And nobody's asking. Nobody in mainstream media, I've not heard anybody say, okay, what is this? We got to investigate. Where's the place of origin for this strange looking beam that weather radar, radar picked up on? Look at that. Look at that beam.
And see, it just grows in intensity. So, again, like he said, where does it come from? Who is controlling it? Where are the answers to this? We don't got answers to this, But you think our own government is going to mention this if they got that technology? They're going to put out bits and pieces, but they're not going to let us know the full details.
What is that? What is that? Who did it? Where does it come from? Did that have anything to do with the fires? What is that beam? Here's another angle from it. This is night 2 from today, from just early this morning. Let's look back here. I'm going to back it up here. Obviously, it's going from day to night, so nighttime descends. Here we go. Look at the fires raging.
And it's a little difficult to see the beam in this. But if you want to watch the full video by Brian from High Impact TV on YouTube, go over to his channel, let him know that Talking the Night sent you, and you can see this full video. Again, a link will be in the description down below. So, what is that beam? And where did it come from? So, let's get into talking about laser beams. Alright, so let's talk a little bit about lasers, and let's move this over just a hair more. And this is again from C.N.N, or the Communist News Network. And I really don't put much stock into them, but that's just my opinion. But we're going to get into talking about lasers and everything like that. So this is U.S. military has a heat ray. And this will tie into the laser thing in a moment. So let's bring that full screen and play a little bit of this video. Again, you're going to see me stopping the video and commentating a little bit because I don't want to get a copyright strike for playing too much, because they will hit me with a copyright strike.
The Pentagon has a heat ray. It's invisible. It's silent. It's real. But it's not.
And notice they said it's real. This technology is there. And why? It makes me wonder why they use that thing from War of the Worlds at the beginning. But could it be that this is alien technology? Again, you the viewers decide on that for yourself. So let's play this video.
Deadly. Officially, it's called the Active Denial System.
And if you've never heard of the ADS, Active Denial System, this will explain it a little bit.
Here's how the military says it works. It shoots an invisible beam of intense electromagnetic.
Now, notice the size of that beam. And listen to what it can do. But just imagine that beam concentrated into a smaller beam or a more concentrated beam.
Magnetic waves at human targets that penetrate the skin about 1/64 of an inch deep. The beam creates what the military calls an intolerable heating sensation that makes...
Now, I haven't seen any reports of like this actually burning anybody. But again, notice again the size of that beam. But imagine if it was a little more concentrated, which we're going to get into concentration of a beam a little bit later in this video.
Makes people instinctively move away from the beam. The heat ray can reach a little more than half a mile away.
A half a mile away. Now imagine that being more concentrated and coming from space. What a beam like that could do.
Its creators say it's harmless and offers troops a non-lethal alternative during threatening confrontations.
Now, none of this has ever been used in thing, but if you notice, they're talking about protests and stuff like that. Why haven't they used this stuff in the writing and stuff like that? Well, mainly probably because the 10th Amendment is against that, but I wouldn't put it past our own government to use this kind of technology.
The active denial system can be used for crowd control, securing a perimeter, and protecting a convoy. This technology has been around for a while, more than a decade.
More than a decade this technology has been around, but only in this video do we see this stuff. Now, is it being played out overseas in different countries? Possible. But it's not being used here in the U.S. yet. If you happen to see this in action on our streets, leave a comment down below. Send me a link if you have it. I would love to see that.
But it's been keeping a low profile. The Marines have used it in training exercises. In 2012, the military said the heat ray was available for operations worldwide.
Worldwide, but that doesn't mean that it can't be used here in the U.S.
But there were no current plans for deployment. In the future, the heat ray may go portable. The Pentagon wants to develop...
Yeah, see, now they're looking at... I guess this was more of a test thing on vehicles, but imagine troops having a handheld object like this. What could that do? And of course, I'm going to zoom out here again because this is from September of 2015. So that's 4 years past, or about, yeah, 4 years past. So, I mean, anything is possible now. Play a little more.
Develop a smaller, lighter version, easier for troops to carry. Wider use of unconventional ideas like the heat ray may lead to more new weapons that protect troops without...
And what new weapons are they talking about? Could they be used against us? Or anybody around the globe? It's quite possible. I'm not asserting anything. It's just my opinion, my thoughts on it. So, there's only a few seconds left. Let's finish out this.
Hurting civilians.
Alright, so, again, imagine that beam, but more concentrated. So, here's another thing from the Communist News Network. C ... N ... N. And this is, watch the U.S. Navy laser weapon in action. This was from 2017. So, I mean, this is just a couple years back. And how long have we had this technology? Is this just a test on it, or have we had this technology a lot longer? So let's go full screen and watch this video. Now, see, this is a barge being towed behind a ship, and the military uses barges like this for test shots to make sure that they can hit an object while it's moving with like 5-inch guns or Sea Whiz or something like that. But notice, let me zoom back here, go back here, and notice this is just like a desk, a piece of metal on a barge, and watch what this laser beam does to that. I mean, it destroyed it, pieces flying up here, and it didn't hit the desk itself, it hit what was on top of it. With that kind of precision, imagine that acted to ADS or a more concentrated beam doing something like that. What could it do? Again, something in the air immobilized. It didn't destroy the drone, but it immobilized it to where it came crashing down. I mean, could that be used on aircraft to shoot them down without firing a missile? Quite possible. It says the strikes are silent and invisible as lasers move literally at the speed of light. Now, it says invisible, and like I said, that beam was caught on radar, and infrared radar will pick up that beam. But like I said earlier, people have seen like a blue light, and that blue light could be coming from like the lens. Like if you look at, say, take a laser pointer and you point it somewhere facing you but not directly in your eyes, you see that red light, but you really don't see the laser too much. Or imagine a remote control for a TV. It has a laser, an invisible laser that you can't see, but it's sending that signal from that remote to the TV. That's basically what these lasers are.
Operationally, it works just like a laser pointer. There's a chamber inside with special materials that release photons.
And of course, they said the laser is extremely accurate on hitting its target. So with that beam going down to the fires, it can pinpoint a spot, and if it's possible, which I believe it is, but again, that's my opinion, that it's starting these fires with that pinpoint precision where they want it to start.
If you're looking at a boat coming in over the water, you can target.
Now, see, that was sitting on top of a dummy boat, but that thing was sitting on top of the boat. It didn't disable the boat, but it blew off what was like a mock firing system, like probably a mock missile system off of the top of the boat. That just hit just that, not the boat itself.
Exactly the engine and take out exactly the engine and not necessarily damage anything else.
Yeah, see, what could that precision be used for? I mean, think about, let's say they want to disable a certain vehicle, but not everybody's vehicle like a EMP pulse would do. They could use this technology. Now, yes, there are practical good uses for it, But in the hands of government, there is no good coming out of that. But again, my opinion, you decide. I'll let you, don't take my word for it. Research everything, check it out for yourself, question everything. And of course, all these links will be in the description down below.
So, and that type of precision weapon work is something that you don't really get with conventional weapons, because there tends to be more collateral damage.
It's useful against a variety of threats, surface or air. It's not a niche weapon system like some other weapons that we have, throughout the military, where it's only good against air contacts or it's only good against surface targets.
And of course, this, as they mentioned, this can be handheld with like the ADS. It can be handheld, the vehicle mounted, ship mounted, everything like that. Imagine this in the hands of our government and the military industrial complex and the nefarious people that want to use it for bad rather than good. And this says the Navy is already developing a second generation system which could target enemy missiles. Now they say they could target that, doesn't mean that they would use it for that. And now this is on board a ship. Now I'm gonna talk about in a moment it being mounted on aircraft, which I'm gonna get into that being in California thing about that too in a moment. But what is to keep them from using this stuff? Again, you decide. There's so much stuff out there that we don't know about that our government has and could be using. Alright, so as I was talking before, talking about lasers and the precision and the concentration of that beam, this comes from ZME Science. The world's most powerful laser weapon blasts a car from a mile away. A mile away. And again, this might not be that powerful a laser to go more than a mile away, but just imagine a mile away, this laser can blast a car, which here's a picture of it, and I'm going to talk about that in a moment. But a 30 kilowatt high powered laser was demonstrated by Lockheed Martin, which we're going to get into in a moment, because Lockheed Martin, there is a branch of Lockheed Martin about 5 miles away from where I live. It's scary that they could have this technology. But after it was used to disable a vehicle more than a mile away. Now, looking at this up on like stilts or something like that to hold it up, I don't think it was disabled, but again, there's no video to this story. And of course, like I said, all the links are in the description down below. One of the great perks of a laser weapon is their phenomenal accuracy. I mean, just to pinpoint a certain spot. To showcase this, the weapon was directed specifically on the hood of a vehicle where it fried the engine. The beam from Advanced Test High Energy Athena is believed to be the most powerful ever documented in laser weapons. And as you can see, they pinpointed a spot on the hood of this truck, and that's from a mile away. Now imagine a bigger beam, more concentrated to hitting grasslands, trees, stuff like that, to cause it to burst into flames like it did here. Could that be being used? You decide. But I mean, look at what it did to this hood. Look at the fire. And that was from a mile away. Now imagine more concentrated beam, much bigger beam. Now, yes, bigger beams can fade the longer they travel, but if you concentrate that beam enough, it could possibly start a fire. And we're going to explain that in a moment in this video. And of course, I'm not going to go over the rest of this, but you can check it out, the story for yourself, in the description down below. So let's move on to, here's another thing about Lockheed Martin. This is from Lockheed Martin. Of course, a laser mounted on a ship and an incoming missile or something like that. Probably not a missile, probably a drone. But at sea, in the ground, and in the air and on the ground, Lockheed Martin is developing laser weapons. And I want to see, I think this, I don't think it says when it was published, but developing laser weapon system to protect warfighters on the battlefield. Well, with everything going on in the U.S. with rioting, looting, protests, and everything like that, who's to say that this won't become a battlefield and they use this technology on us? So let's play this short video. And again, I'm going to stop in the video to commentate so I can use it as fair use. But I don't want to get a copyright strike from Lockheed Martin. I'm not that far
away. Lockheed Martin produces systems that do everything from detect the threats to identify the threats, determine whether it's a threat to the aircraft, and then employs the appropriate weapon, in this case, a laser weapon system.
Now that's just air. Like I said, it's already on vehicles, on ships, on aircraft. I mean, it could be in the hands of troops for all I know.
What we're hearing from our customers is that they
hearing from their customers, which, who is Lockheed Martin's biggest customer? That is the military industrial complex, which our government runs. And could they be saying that they're going to use this for the battlefield, but yet possibly use it against us? I'm making no assertions, YouTube. I'm just stating what I'm seeing, what I'm thinking, my opinion.
We need a layered, multi-domain defensive approach that can be integrated across platforms to neutralize these threats across.
What threats are they talking about? Are they talking about military threats? Or are they talking about other threats? Because it doesn't say what kind of threat. I mean, I guess you could make the case that they're applying threats on the battlefield, but if things get bad in this country and this becomes a battlefield, could they use it against us or anybody else? Quite possible.
All those domains. Imagine an aircraft.
Now, see, this is coming from an aircraft and striking a missile. Now, imagine that beam that you saw in that radar image. Could that have been coming from an aircraft because it's a lot lower to the ground and could get a little more accuracy and more strength there than rather coming from a satellite from space? It's quite possible.
Craft equipped with a laser system with the capability to be able to neutralize a threat at the speed of a lightning strike, the precision of a surgical scalpel, with the magazine to deal with a swarm, and with the scalable effect to be able to address that threat, providing an effect all the way the one end from simply deterring it for a short period of time, all the way up to completely neutralizing and
So disabling or neutralizing it altogether. So say you want to get out of an area that they don't want you in. And I'm not talking about places like Area 51 or a military base. I'm just saying if things get crazy in this country and they don't want you moving about, could they use this to disable your vehicle? Like you saw in the truck hood picture. I mean, it's quite possible. Or could they neutralize it altogether?
defeating that threat.
We were able to integrate our laser weapon system, Athena, into the classified C2 network.
See, now a lot of it is classified information. They're only putting out little bits that they want you to see, but they don't hide really that much anymore. It's out there for the whole world to see in their own documentations. You just gotta be able to look for it. That's why I use DuckDuckGo on my searches for when I'm researching and talking about a topic like I'm doing here. So that's all I'm gonna play of this video because I don't want to get a copyright strike. But let's talk about concentrating a beam and what it could do. Now, those lenses could be like a magnifying glass, which is what this video here is going to talk about. And this is from John Daniels. He's got a little over 9,000 subscribers. You also let him know that I sent you. Link will be in the description below. But this is melt a penny with the sun and a Fresnel lens. Basically a magnifying glass. And this was uploaded 2 years ago. Now, if you're still do it, or if you're old enough to remember taking a magnifying glass out to burn bugs, or if you were that kind of crazy type of kid like I was, taking it out there burning bugs and stuff like that, you know what I'm talking about here. But let's look at this video. Let's go full screen, and he's going to be talking about this Fresnel lens and magnifying glass and what it can do. And just imagine a laser beam being able to do this.
All right, in this video, we're going to melt a penny with a Fresnel lens. This is basically a magnifying glass. It's a full-page magnifying glass. You can get them at the bookstore. You can get
Now, see, this is just a big old lens, reading lens, the magnifying glass. Basically, it's not one of the smaller ones where you can get a little more concentrated beam, that pinpoint. But I'm sure a regular magnifying glass might be able to do this as well. But imagine this type of lens in front of that laser before it leaves the system, magnifying that beam and intensifying it.
Office Depot. This basically has a bunch of small circles in it, and it concentrates the sun's energy into one spot. So we're going to be using, it's almost 1 square foot, so we're going to take 1 square foot of the sun's energy that's coming down, and you can see how powerful it is when you...
Yeah, see, this is only 1 square foot. Imagine a bigger size of that type of lens.
Focus it in on one small point. So this is the same amount of energy that's hitting you out in the sun when you go out and, you know, go to the pool or just outside. Your body's having to, but
see, now we're taking that from the sun, but it's a lot further away, so we feel that heat, but we don't really get the intensification if you were to harness that in a smaller concentrated beam. Now notice here he's got a piece of paper here. Watch what this lens does, and imagine a concentrated beam being fired into open grass or a tree line or something like that to cause a fire.
Give you an idea how,
I mean, look at how quickly that caught flame. Again, that's just a small spot that is being concentrated, that sun's ray into that piece of paper. Now imagine it about tenfold.
how strong it is. There's a piece of paper and just instantly goes up into flames. So we can get up to almost 3,000 degrees.
Okay, so now he mentions 3,000 degrees. Now, knowing fire and studying fire in the early 90s, wildland fires get around 1,400 degrees. Glass melts at over 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit. And he's mentioning 3,000 just from this. So, and a lot of people have talked about, there's videos out there where glass is melted from these fires. Steel beams have melted from these fires and twisted. So, imagine a fire that hot.
Fahrenheit. All right, we're gonna get started, and as you can see, as you start focusing the light more and more on the penny.
It's gonna take a second, but notice he's just focused that beam right on that penny. And watch what this beam of sunlight from the sun that's millions of miles away can do to this penny. Now imagine that concentrated into a more powerful laser beam.
We'll see how hot it can get. And it's going to take just a little bit of time to get that penny melted, get that metal starting to melt. All right, as you can see, the penny is already starting to melt. All right, let's cool it down.
All right, so I don't know how long it took, but as you can see the penny right here. And look at what it did to the penny. He's going to hold it up so you can see it a little bit closer. But it got very hot. And he's going to cool off with water, and it's still going to be tough.
And let's take a look at it here. Ooh.
Yeah, see, it's still hot, and he poured that water on it. Of course, it takes a while for things to cool off when they get extremely hot, but imagine how hot it got for that penny to do that.
Still hot.
I mean, look at the penny. Look at what just a beam of sunlight did to the penny. Again, imagine what a more concentrated beam with that type of lens on the front of the system and focusing that on woodlands, grasslands, where all these fires are burning. Could that beam be such a thing? Again, you decide.
As you can see, been melted pretty easy. Now, if this is 1 square foot, if you would get a bigger Fresnel lens, you'd focus more energy.
See, what he was talking about, you get a bigger lens, you can focus more energy. So again, with these laser systems, could they be using one of these lenses and focusing more energy?
It would melt even faster and easier. So that's the Fresnel lens. It's pretty amazing how much energy from the sun is falling on Earth every day.
And how much energy is falling on Earth, but imagine what that could do. Now, that laser beam that I was talking about, it came from this radar site. As you can see, Hurricane Paulette, Hurricane Sally, this tropical depression and everything like that. But we're going to get into weather modification, but this was caught on this satellite image, that beam of light, whether it was a laser or what, you decide. So let's get into weather modification next, because I want to talk about these storms and everything like that. Alright, so let's get into weather modification portion of this video. And what you're looking at here is from Weather Modifications Incorporated. Again, all the links are in the description. But as you can see, some of the services they offer, different services, meteorological services, atmospheric assessment and evaluation, which is part of HARP, which has been declassified and they say is no longer in use, but could it be still in use? Quite possible. Cloud seeding, which we're going to get into a little bit later. Weather radar systems, environmental monitoring, aircraft, and let's click on this and view all clients and projects that they service. And of course, Antigua, Argentina, Australia, Canada, Greece, India, Indonesia, Mexico, Saudi Arabia. Come down here to the US and there's a lot of clients. Department of Agriculture Cloud Seeding Program from Delaware, Naval Surface Warfare Center, New Mexico Blast Project, and you can look at all the different clients that they service here by clicking on that. And of course, you can explore the map below here and look at, view the US and what projects, Argentina, Mali, Spain, stuff like that, and you can see for yourself. So with them servicing all that, I mean, what's to say they're not like Lockheed and providing this stuff to our government, who might have a more nefarious service for that technology. Now, the next thing I'm going to talk about, I have to be careful on how I say this, because I will get a copyright strike, and I don't want to visit from agents or anything like that. But this is from the U.S. government, the Charlie India Alpha Agency. You can see it right here. Again, I'm not going to say this, but talking about weather modification, aspects of international aspects of weather modification. So our government is putting it out there, but a lot of people don't know to look at this stuff. That's why I'm putting it out to you, so you can look at it for yourself, make your own decision. Again, don't believe what I say. Don't believe what anybody else says. I got the hiccups. Do your own research and question everything. But survey of weather modification, research on weather modification. I'm not going to go through this long list of things here, but there is a long list of things, and it continues on like 9 or more pages. So this is all on weather modification from the Charlie India Alpha Agency. Again, I'm not going to say the name. I'll let you look it up. The link is in the description below. But they put that stuff out there, and it's out there to where you can see it if you actually look for this information. Now here's a thing from Charlie Bravo Sierra News. Again, I'm not going to play this whole video, but it says controlling the weather, is it possible? This was from 2013, but this features Dr. Michio Kaku, which I want to eventually get on my radio show once I get that going again, or even on a live stream once I figure out how to get a guest and fix other issues with it. But let's play something.
You know, they were talking about climate change yesterday, and now we're learning that scientists and researchers are looking at how to change the weather on purpose. That's right. Lasers now could one day manipulate.
And they're talking about lasers and controlling the weather modification. Could those lasers not only be causing fires, but used to control weather, to steer hurricanes, to strengthen hurricanes or weaken them, or other storms that cause flooding rain where they don't need more? Again, you make up your own mind.
Manipulate rain and lightning. CBS This Morning contributor Michio Kaku is a physics professor at City College of New York. Professor, nice to see you. Extraordinary seeing Al Gore and Bill Clinton there together with Charlie.
And of course, if you know me personally, you know what I think of political parasites as such as Al Gore and Bill Clinton and even Donald Trump and Biden. They're all political parasites, but that's not what we're talking about in this video.
Wasn't it?
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, they did not get into this discussion, though. But it is fascinating. I mean, lasers, really? To change the weather?
That's right. Well, as Mark Twain once famously said, everyone complains about the weather, but no one ever does anything about it. Well,
and everybody does complain about the weather. Now, again, I had to break in because I don't want to get a copyright strike. I'm not going to play this whole video, I don't think. But there's a couple points in this video I want to point out.
Well, instead of doing a rain dance, we physicists are firing trillion-watt lasers into the sky to actually precipitate rain clouds and actually bring down lightning bolts. This is...
And if it can cause lightning bolts, couldn't that start fires too? And you don't have to have rain. You can just have a lightning bolt strike, and that has been many of the causes of fires in California and other places in the past. So could these laser beams be doing that?
Potentially a game changer.
But this is experimental.
It's experimental. However, in the laboratory so far it works. When you have one...
And they say this is experimental. Again, this was from 2013, so that was 6 years ago. What has advanced since then?
Water vapor, and you have dust particles or ice crystals, you can precipitate rain. It condenses around the seeds. These seeds can also be created by laser beams. By firing trillion-watt lasers, you rip apart the
Notice what he said there, trillion-watt lasers. We're talking about a very powerful laser. That laser that struck the truck to cause it to disable the engine, that was only 30 kilowatts. He's talking about, let's play that again.
Seeds can also be created by laser beams. By firing trillion-watt lasers,
Trillion-watt lasers. Trillion-watt laser beam.
you rip apart the electrons, creating what are called ions, and these ions act like seeds, like dust particles, bringing down rain and even lightning.
Go ahead.
Well, this fascinates me in part because, too, I remember reading the stories that China had used this during the Olympics.
And they're not talking about just our government, but a communist country such as China using this same technology. Russia using this technology. I think they mentioned that in this video.
That the USSR had used this after Chernobyl to create rain clouds. I mean, did those really work then? We have some of these capabilities now?
Inconclusive. Even in the 60s.
Now, he says inconclusive, but he's about to mention Vietnam, and I'm going to get into that in a moment. But in that operation, but this technology, I believe, has been around a lot longer. And I don't want to get off into conspiracy theories and alien technology, but it seems like some of this stuff has advanced since Roswell. But again, you decide.
The CIA used this to bring down monsoons during the Vietnam War, to wash out the Viet Cong. Governments have been playing with this thing.
Alleged to.
Now, notice how she corrected him on that alleged to. He was putting out the right information. Mainstream media was quick to say, oh, no, you can't say that. You got to say it. It was alleged to use that information. But that information has already been declassified. Like I said, I'm going to get into that in a little bit here. But he spoke truth there.
Alleged to, right? Yeah. Now, realize that for decades now, these governments have been alleged to have experimented with weather control, but nothing conclusive.
And like I showed you beforehand, from here, from the Charlie India Alpha Agency, it states right here, weather modification. So it's already in documentation. Let's play a little more of this.
This time we're bringing in the laws of physics rather than simply waving our hands and uttering mumbo jumbo.
And look at purpose of controlling weather: agriculture, drought and flood. That would be good if it was used for good, but I don't think they're using it for good. Commercial big events and sensitive buildings, and then of course the military. Why would the military want to control weather? Well, it was used in Vietnam, but like I said, I'm going to get into that operation in a little bit in this video. But it's already out there.
We're actually using trillion-watt lasers now. And in the laboratory, sure enough, they precipitate rain out of water vapor. Sure enough, you can actually bring down electricity down the beam.
So what does it mean for drought areas that need to have rain for crops? And if they don't have them, there's the consequences of famine.
Well, the bad news is if it's a clear blue sky, it's not going to do anything at all.
Yeah, see, so let's get into a little something else. As he mentioned, if there's clear blue skies, it's not going to cause rain. Well, how do you get clouds? How can you artificially make clouds? Well, that would be chemtrails, but you can call me a conspiracy theorist, you can call me a tinfoil hat wearing fool, all you want, but the fact is, when people think about conspiracy theories, or conspiracies, they think of conspiracy theories, but there is such a thing as conspiracy facts, and that's what that Charlie India Alpha Agency that's fact that there is weather modification out there, but a lot of people don't know about that kind of stuff unless they actually are looking for it and dig for it.
Because it only takes water vapor that's already in the air and condenses it. However, for floods, for agriculture, farmers, for people planning wedding parties, football games, you name it, outdoor events and agriculture and flooding and even hurricanes, all of them could be...
Notice you mentioned hurricanes, and that's what we're going to talk about in this video a little bit later too. But could these be controlling the weather? I'm going to leave it there. Again, you watch the rest of this video. The full link is in the description down below. So, next thing is from MPN News, and it's on weather modification. And it says the U.S. government has experimented with controlling hurricanes. And actually, I want to, let me go here real quick. And again, I use DuckDuckGo for all my searches and everything like that because I want to get more information than what mainstream media might put out there and Google might put out there. But the operation that took place in Vietnam was Operation Popeye, which has been declassified, and says Operation Popeye was a military cloud seeding operation carried out by the U.S. Air Force during Vietnam in 1967 to 1972. The highly classified program attempted, which is now declassified, to extend the monsoon season over specific areas of the Ho Chi Minh Trail in order to disrupt North Vietnamese military supplies by softening roads, services, and causing landslides. Again, I can't make, you can make this stuff up, but why would you have to when it's right there in your face? Again, they put the stuff out there, but a lot of people don't know about that. That's why I'm covering it. So let's go back to this on controlling hurricanes. The U.S. government has experimented with controlling hurricanes. The hurricane season, and we got a big hurricane season going on this year. We got 5 named storms in the Atlantic. And the last time we had 5 named storms in the Atlantic and the Gulf at the same time was almost 50 years ago in 1971. It says this hurricane season also sparked a wide range of conspiracy theories regarding, and let me see something. This was in 2017, so they're not talking about this year. They're talking about 17. Imagine what this article would say if it was talking about this year. Conspiracy theories regarding the possibility that U.S. government or some other government could be manipulating the weather to strengthen hurricanes. Well, if we go back here to the clients in Africa, let's see, the hurricanes come off the coast here, right about here in West Africa. And this is one of the places that has that weather modification technology. Makes you wonder. Could they be causing these stronger storms to come off of the coast of Africa? Now it says the 2017 hurricane season has wrought more damage on the Caribbean and the Gulf Coast of the United States than any season in the last decade, which is wrong. I mean, it's this one and I think like 2015 had a bad hurricane season, but they're talking about Tropical Storm Harvey, which became a hurricane and pretty much messed up Texas. Hurricane Irma, which caused damage to Florida, Puerto Rico, and other Caribbean islands, leaving millions without power and water. And we're not going to get into this whole article, but it says there are dozens of YouTube channels where individuals focus specifically on weather manipulation and modification. They claim they have the expertise to study radar images and determine whether artificial elements were added to develop hurricanes. Now, I don't make any claims like that, don't claim to be an expert in weather. I do have a fascination with weather, and I predicted hurricane paths in the past in strength, and points where the storm has actually hit. But to become an expert, I don't claim that at all. But, I mean, it don't take a rocket scientist to see what is happening with some of these storms. I mean, this year, the GFS for tracking hurricanes and all other models have been off somewhat. Why are they off? Why? I'm not talking about off as far as not working. I'm talking about off as in they're getting the paths wrong, the strength wrong. Hurricane Sally, when it was in the Caribbean, they were saying that the storm wasn't going to amount to much. Look at it now. It's a hurricane. It strengthened very quickly. So could these lasers be, like that laser being used to intensify the fire and everything and excite it? Could that same technology be used to excite these thunderstorms and cause them to blow up the way they do and make them bigger, stronger, and steering them? Again, you decide. But there's a lot of information here, like a brief history of weather modification. Scrolling down here a little more, there was another thing. Weather as a weapon of war, which talks about Vietnam. U.S. Air Force C-130, 123 flies low along a South Vietnamese highway, spraying Agent Orange on dense jungle growth during the Vietnam War. Now, that's a whole nother thing, but using this technology against people that probably have never done anything wrong, it makes you wonder. Again, this whole link will be in the description. It talks about modern hurricane modification, everything like that. So you can check out that link in the description down below. Alright, so let's get into talking about the storms and everything like that. Since we've talked about lasers and weather modification and everything like that, let's look at the storms that have already are in the Atlantic. And this is from the National Hurricane Center and NOAA, NOAA. And here's the 5 storms that I was talking about. 5 storms in the Atlantic at the same time. Now, Renee has been downgraded to a post-tropical cyclone. It has died out. Paulette has already passed Bermuda, which is that little dot right there. Sally is getting close to the Gulf Coast of the U.S. And I've seen a video earlier where it kind of wobbled and started moving to the east a little more towards Mobile and the Florida Panhandle. And it's right now at a Category 2 hurricane with the 100-mile-per-hour winds. At 96, it becomes a Category 2, and it hasn't even made landfall. It's kind of stalled over the open waters and soaking up that warm water. Then you got two other tropical storms, Teddy and Vicky, and there's only one name left in the 2020 names before we go to the Greek alphabet. But Teddy looks, I mean, they say it's going to make a northerly track, almost like Paulette. But Paulette started making the northerly track back here, like where Vicky is. Vicky plans to make the same track. But Teddy, I think it's going to more or less go over the islands and take about the same track as Hurricane Laura. But we'll have to wait and see. But again, could these, like I was mentioned with Sally, Hurricane Sally, how it's wobbled and started moving towards the east instead of towards New Orleans, it's moving closer to Mobile and the Florida Panhandle. I mean, could weather steering be a possibility for that? You better believe it could be. And of course, right back over here, off screen here, is Molly, where that weather modification services from that company, Weather Modification Incorporated, has that technology. So could they be causing these storms to get stronger? I mean, there's another one coming off of the coast of Africa, tropical disturbance. Could they be enhancing the, like HAART was used to excite the atmosphere to create aurora borealis, or so they say. But to excite the ions in the atmosphere. Could they be doing the same thing with the thunderstorms coming off of Africa to create these disturbances in tropical storms and hurricanes? It's very quite likely and possible. So let's look at the satellite view. Let's look at the Gulf and look at Hurricane Paulette, which is right here. Sorry, it's taking a moment to load up. But this is the infrared for those areas. And you can see the low system is still out here in the open waters. These are just some of the outer bands, but it's already striking Mobile and the Florida Panhandle for these things. Now it's looking like it's starting to move a little more to the west with the thunderstorms, but if you look here, notice the eyes moving back towards the east. And it's not quite visible on this satellite, but as you can see, it's become a powerful storm. There's the other disturbance that was headed towards Mexico, which actually is starting to make its round back up. Could they be using those laser beams to actually cause this to come back up and merge with this? And look at this little segment here to blow up, and the winds. I mean, the circulation of a hurricane is counterclockwise, and high pressure is clockwise. But you notice some of these bands coming off of this and going back up and then wrapping around. So that's what could be steering this to make it go a little more east. Of course, Paulette's already hit Bermuda, which is about right here somewhere. And it's moving up and off to the east away from the U.S. Coastline. But our biggest threat here in the U.S. is Hurricane Sally. Now let's go and look at the infrared for the tropics here. And of course, there's Sally, there's Paulette, Renee, post-tropical depression, cyclone. Renee is there. You can see it dissipated into nothing. There's tropical storm Teddy, still moving to the west. You got Vicky up here, and there's that other tropical storm disturbance. Notice the intensity of that one. Now, Vicky don't look to be affecting anything. It might actually make a northerly turn and just head back to the east and don't affect anything. But right now, our biggest concerns is Sally and Teddy, and possibly this one, depending on the track that it takes. But could all the, and then you got it, her tropical storm Karina over here in the Pacific, could, and there was something about South America, I think, yeah, Argentina from that group. I mean, it's down here, but notice all these thunderstorms here in South America that are making its way up this way and eventually will be going out here, like the tropical wave off of the coast of Africa coming east. So again, I'll let you decide on what you think. Do you think the weather has been modified with laser beams or cloud seeding such as chemtrails? Let me know what you think in the comment for this video down below, and let me know what you think. Do you think the government is using this technology for more nefarious services, or do you think they have it for good uses? Again, you decide. And again, I want to mention I use DuckDuckGo for when I'm searching out anything like any of the topics that I talked about in this video. Again, you can search anything without being tracked, privately encoded searches, privacy protecting searches, and you can find a lot more than you can with Google. Again, I'm not getting paid by DuckDuckGo or anything like that to sponsor the show. I mean, it'd be nice if they did, but of course, let's take it off that. So again, let me know what you think in the comments down below. Do you think our government has this technology to control weather? Do you think other governments might have this technology? Let me know what you think in the comments below. And until next time, in the next video, I will see you on the dark side. Good night from Talking the Night. Slid night, darkness has fallen. Turn on the radio, and you hear him talking. Listening to what he has to say, all about the paranormal and all of the things. When he sounds off, you can hear him say, see you on the dark side. Yes, you can hear him say, see you on Hello everybody, Paranormal Phil here for Talking the Night. I hope you enjoyed this video, the videos that I've done in the past, and hopefully you'll enjoy the videos that I got coming in the future. So if you do, make sure you like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to get notified when I post new videos. Also, make sure you leave a comment down below and share this with all your friends. Of course, this video is, and this channel and this show is listener viewer funded. So there is a PayPal link down below where you can donate $1, $20, whatever you can afford, even 50 cents. So make sure you support the show by donating today. And until next time, I shall see you on the dark side. Good night from Talking the Night.